Hi, good evening. I'm Utelli Edwards. Here are your top stories on News 5. Condolences and aid pour in after this deadly blast in Beirut threatens Lebanon's health system and food supply. Another record day of coronavirus infections and deaths in Australia. It could trigger even tighter curbs across the state. Another death from dengue here brings the total to 20, the same number recorded for all of 2019. Also ahead, COVID-19 has scaled down NDP celebrations, but parade veterans are rising to the occasion. The world has offered condolences and assistance to Lebanon after the huge explosion that's devastated Beirut. More than 100 people are dead, thousands injured, and hundreds of thousands homeless. The country now has less than a month's grain reserves after the blast destroyed its main silo. It's also dealing with pressure on a health system already overwhelmed by COVID-19. Gulf nations were among the first to respond to Lebanon's appeal for help. Qatar and Kuwait have promised to send medical aid. Even a longtime rival, Israel, has offered humanitarian aid. Canada, France, and Britain have voiced their support. Britain is looking at technical and financial aid. Now, the Arab League's chief has just stressed the importance of finding out what happened. As an investigation begins, there are questions about how and why highly explosive material came to be stored in a harbor warehouse. For now, it's a race against time to find survivors.
3 days of mourning have begun in Beirut as it picks up the pieces from a massive explosion at its harbor area. Smoke is still rising from the blast site, with parts of the Lebanese capital looking like the scene of an earthquake. Relatives of those missing have turned to social media for help. An Instagram account was created hours after the disaster, allowing them to share pictures and appeal for information online. This is the moment disaster struck. The mushroom-shaped explosion was logged as the equivalent of a 3.3 magnitude earthquake, shattering glass and damaging buildings across the city.
إنه يشبه ما حصل باليابان بهيروشيما وناكازاكي. هذا يذكرني ما شفت بحياتي دمار بهالكبر وبهالوسع وبهالنكبة. هيدي نكبة وطنية. هيدي يعني مصيبة على لبنان. يعني ما بنعرف كيف بدنا نطلع منها. ما بنعرف بهالأيام نحن كنا يا دوب نقدر نمشي. وجتنا هالكارثة هيدي. يعني بدنا نضل قوايا، بدنا نضل نتمالك حالنا، نمتلك الشجاعة. بس كتير هالقد كتير فرد مرة على شعب.
Dozens are dead and many more are believed to be trapped under rubble.
عمره 29 سنة. من الساعة 7 ما خلينا مستشفى ببيروت. بتتفيش وهلا بيطلع اسماء، بعد شوي بيطلع اسماء، إلا من الساعة 7 لهلا غلطان. لا معروف ميت، لا معروف جريح، وين هو ما بنعرف.
The disaster couldn't have come at a worse time for Lebanon. The healthcare system, already overwhelmed by the COVID-19 pandemic, has been pushed to the brink by thousands of patients injured by the blast. Many hospitals have also suffered extensive damage from the explosion. Medical supplies, already in short supply, have been destroyed. Fears of food insecurity also on the rise. Lebanon imports up to 80% of its food, which the port played a key role in bringing in. All the grain stored in the port is now gone. An investigation into the cause of the blast is now underway, with a focus on a warehouse said to have been illegally storing about 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate. It's still unclear what could have ignited the explosive substance, or what it was even doing stored for years in the middle of the city.
Well, ammonium nitrate is being blamed for that massive explosion in Beirut. 2,700 tons was stored in a port warehouse, apparently for years. It's usually used as a fertilizer, but becomes extremely potent when mixed with fuel oils. But as Professor Jimmy Oxley points out, it may not be the cause behind the blast.
The question is, what was the storage area? Did it have wood, for example? Was there potential of vehicles driving in? And, you know, when I'm talking about a warehouse, you could have some sort of a vehicle that was fuel-driven that might have dripping oil. But I'm more worried about what the construction of the warehouse was and what it was stored near. And in this case, the ammonium nitrate, even given fuel, would have sat there. Usually it would not have gotten involved if something else hadn't started the reaction, a very large fire or another explosion. And we're hearing rumors that there might have been fireworks stored nearby, or maybe something else started the event, but it doesn't sound like the ammonium nitrate started the event.